You ever been to a cattle auction? No? Well, let me tell you about my first one. It was the best day of my young life, and the worst, and it was the day. I made my first real mistake as a rancher. I must have been 12, maybe 13, old enough to think I knew something, young enough not to. My daddy awoke me before sunrise that morning. I still remember the way the cold crept into the bunkhouse through the cracks in the boards. The kind of cold that bites your ears and makes your breath hang in the air like smoke from a slow fire. He stood at the foot of my bed, hat already on, boots laced, coffee in hand. "Get up," he said. "We're heading to the auction." Now, if you've never been to a cattle auction, you might think it's just folks standing around, pointing at cows. It ain't. It's a storm with a rhythm. We loaded into his old truck before the sun broke the horizon. The engine rattled like it always did, coughing twice before settling into that familiar growl. I sat there on the cracked leather seat trying not to smile too big. I'd been begging him for months. "Next time we go, can I come?" He never said yes, never said no, just waited. We drove through miles of dry pasture. The land was waking up slow. A thin orange ribbon stretched across the eastern sky, dust lifting behind us in soft clouds. Fence posts flicked by like ticking seconds. When the auction yard came into view, my stomach flipped. Trucks and trailers were lined up like a parade. Men in hats of every shape and color stood in small circles, coffee cups in hand. The air smelled like diesel fuel, manure, hay, sweat, and money. That's right, money has a smell. It smells like tension. It smells like pride. It smells like risk. Cattle bawled from the holding pens. Metal gates clanged open and shut. Boats shuffled across gravel. Somewhere a radio played old country through a blown-out speaker. And then I heard it, the chant, that fast-talking rhythm of the auctioneer warming up inside the barn. It sounded like a foreign language at first, a waterfall of numbers, spelling over itself. My dad rested his hand on my shoulder. "Today," he said, "you're not just watching, you're buying your first bull." I looked up at him. He didn't smile. My dad wasn't much for big expressions, but there was something in his eyes. Something steady and testing. "You're gonna buy us a bull. Now, you gotta understand something. Buying a bull for a ranch ain't like buying a shovel. A bull shapes your future if he's strong. Your herd grows strong. If he's weak, your herd weakens. If his temperament's bad, cows get hurt. If his genes are flawed, that flaw spreads like wildfire through every calf born after him. A bull can build a ranch or quietly break it." I swallowed hard. "My own bull?" I asked. He nodded once. "But you'll listen. You will watch. You'll think." That's all he said. Inside the barn, the world moved faster. Dust hung in the air like fog. Sunlight pushed through wooden slats in bright beams that caught floating particles mid-air. The stands were packed, ranchers leaning forward, eyes sharp, hands ready. Cattle were brought in one by one, each one circled under the lights, while the auctioneer's chant rolled like thunder. "Now 20, now 25, now 30, 35. Hands flicked up in subtle motions. A nod, a lifted finger, a tilt of a hat brim. You didn't wave wildly, you barely moved, and yet somehow everyone knew. My dad leaned close. "Don't look at the shine," he said. "Look at the legs. Look at the feet. Watch how he moves." Another bull entered the ring. "Temperament matters," he continued. "A crazy bull tears up fences and hurts cows. A lazy one don't braid enough. You need balance." I nodded like I understood everything. Truth was, I was drowning in noise and dust and adrenaline. Then they brought him in. The bull, black as midnight, neck thick as a tray stump, shoulders rolling like a tank moving through mud. His back was wide and straight. His coat gleamed under the lights. The whole barn shifted, even. I felt it. That quiet ripple when something's impressive walks in. He's big. I whispered, "Big ain't everything," my dad said, but I wasn't hearing him anymore. That bull pawed at the dirt once and lifted his head like he owned the place, and in my young mind, that was enough. That was power. That was pride. That was the bull I wanted. My dad stepped back. That was the moment. He stepped back and crossed his arms. He wasn't going to rescue me. He wasn't going to whisper advice. He was letting me decide. The auctioneer's chant started fast. Now 55, now 60. Do I hear 60? My heart pounded so loud I thought folks might hear it. A man across the ring nodded. 65. Another lifted his hand. 70. My palms started sweating. The bull circled again, muscles shifting under skin. I barely noticed how he favored one hind leg for a second. I didn't see the way he avoided eye contact with the handler. I didn't ask about his lineage, didn't check the paperwork, didn't ask why he was here instead of at a private sale. I saw size. I saw strength. I saw bragging rights. I lifted my hand. 75. The chant rolled faster. 80, now 85, now 90. Someone countered. My jaw tightened. I lifted again. 95. My dad didn't move. Didn't blink. The barn felt hotter. 105. The other bidder hesitated. I went one more time. One in. Silence stretched. Dust floated in golden light. The auctioneer leaned forward. Sold to number 60. The gavel cracked. That was me. Number 60. I just bought my first bull. The rush that hit me, I can still feel it. Pride flooded my chest. Men around me nodded. One clapped my shoulder. Fine bull, son. I grinned so wide my face hurt. My dad finally stepped beside me. You sure? He asked quietly. Yes, sir. And I nodded once. All right. We walked toward the pens to inspect my purchase up close. Up close is where pride meets reality. The ranch vet happened to be there that day, old Doc Harris. Glasses sliding down his nose. Hands always smelling faintly of antiseptic and tobacco. New buy? He asked. My son's, my dad said. Doc raised an eyebrow. Well, now, congratulations. He stepped into the pen. The bull snorted. Doc moved calm, experienced. He checked eyes, teeth, ran hands along the spine. Looked at hoofs. Then he got quiet. Too quiet. He asked for the papers. Left him over. Looked again. Then he looked at my dad. Mind if I run a quick fertility check? My stomach tightened. My dad nodded. Minutes felt like hours. The barn noise faded behind the pounding in my ears. Finally, Doc climbed back over the fence. He took off his gloves slowly. Well, he said gently, looking at me, he's a looker. I waited. But he'll never breed. The words didn't make sense at first. What? He's sterile, Doc said. Likely from a childhood infection. It's in the notes. Small print. I felt heat rush to my face. Sterile. That meant no calves. No growth. No future from him. I turned to my dad. He wasn't angry. That almost made it worse. Did you read the full sheet? He asked. I hadn't. I barely glanced at it. I'd been too busy watching muscle ripple under hide. Doc continued gently. He's healthy enough for beef resale, but he won't build a herd. Building a herd. That's what bulls are for. That's what I'd been entrusted to do. And I'd failed right there in the dust and noise and pride. We sold them that same afternoon. Didn't even load them in our trailer. We took a loss. Not a small one either. Enough to sting. As we stood by the truck afterward, sun dipping low and shadows stretching long across the lot, I couldn't look at my dad. "I'm sorry," I finally said. He leaned against the door and stared out at the pins. "You know why I let you buy him?" I shook my head. "Because mistakes are cheaper when you're young." I swallowed. "A bull ain't bought with your eyes," he said. "He's bought with your head, papers, bloodline, structure, temperament, purpose." He looked at me then. "Size impresses neighbors. Genetics built legacies." That one sentence stuck with me longer than any scolding would have. On the drive home, I didn't say much. The sky burned orange and purple over the pasture. Fence posts ticked by again like seconds passing. But something had changed. That was the day I stopped looking at shine. Stopped being dazzled by flash. After that, every bull we ever bought, I studied like a scholar. I learned to read pedigree charts. Learned to watch gait and muscle structure. Learned to read subtle signs, the way a bull holds his head, how he responds to pressure, how he stands when resting. I never rushed another bid. Never let pride lift my hand before logic did. And our herd, it grew. Strong calves, healthy cows, generations built on careful decisions. That first bull never set hoof on our ranch. But the lesson he brought home, that built it. So when you're out there, whether you're buying cattle, starting a business, picking a partner, or chasing a dream, remember this: big ain't everything. Flash fades. But foundation lasts. Now toss another log on the fire. And if you ever find yourself at an auction, read the fine print. And don't let muscle fool you into thinking you found greatness. Sometimes the biggest bull in the ring has nothing to offer at all.